Welcome back to the second segment of the show. Today we're going to be talking about the inauguration of Imam Al-Hussein Mosque after major renovations that took place at the mosque and the surrounding areas, including the Maqsura of the holy shrine of the Imam Al-Hussein. And to shed more light on the renovation project and its significance, we're joined by Dalia Ibrahim, a tour guide. Thank you so much, Dalia, for joining us.
Hello, good afternoon, dear. How are you?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Could you tell us what is the importance of the Al-Hussein area and why is it important in the terms of tourism?
Sure. Well, first of all, for this very spiritual event, which is happening in a very special time, I would like to wish yourself and all your viewers, first of all, a happy Coptic Easter. And we are terminating Ramadan already, so a happy early wishes for the Eid or the feast. And corresponding to this spiritual holy month of Ramadan and the inauguration of Al-Hussein Mosque, it's a great honor and pleasure that we are speaking about this topic today because the mosque has been closed for quite a while at a very high cost of renovation. And it's not really the first time this mosque, because of its holiness, and it's a very precious existence in the hearts of many Egyptians who come from different parts of Egypt to pray there or to take the blessings from Al-Hussein, the Prophet's grandson. Of course, it was a great project made by the Egyptian government, the Cairo Governorate, and also one of the NGOs called Masajid Foundation, in addition also to the Ministry of Endowment or Al-Awqaf Ministry, that really put a great effort in a very short time, which was about 6 months, at a very high cost, as I mentioned, to have this mosque redecorated and ready again for prayer, especially during the last 10 days of Ramadan, which are really very precious for every Muslim.
Yes. Can you tell us what exactly was renovated in the Hussein Mosque?
Sure. Actually, the inside as well as the outside, I've seen very nice videos. I haven't been there yet, but I've seen a new floor of marble that covered the outside, and it's enough for 3,000 men that can pray outside.
Yes.
They also added a mihrab or a direction of Qibla.
Yes.
And a mimbar, which is the staircase for preaching every Friday. They added one outside out of marble, as well as renovating the interior of the mosque.
Yes.
It's covered completely in new carpets, and they renovated the lighting system and the sound system, which actually was at a very, very high cost, and very high definition devices were used, which corresponds to the ones in Mecca and Medina, by the way.
Yes. Can you also tell us a bit about the project that will continue on, where the presidency is keen on developing the various shrines within the areas of Old Cairo for Al-Bayt in Egypt? How is this important for religious tourism in Egypt?
Yes, actually, President Sisi and his cabinet have been on an ongoing meeting since last July of last summer, and they have decided to renovate this path for religious tourism and for religious tourists, or let's say religious scholars as well, because, Al-Azhar Mosque is a well-known university worldwide, and thousands of scholars are here, boys and girls, that study at Al-Azhar University. So this is something very remarkable, that Al-Bayt monuments and mausoleums, including Sayyida Nafisa, Sayyida Aisha, Sayyida Zainab, as well as Al-Mashhad Al-Husayni, or the mausoleum of Al-Hussein. And it's actually a plan that needs to be finished in maybe a couple of years' time. So they really have a great job to do.
Cairo is known as the city of 1,000 minarets. Can you tell us more about the significance, historical significance of these mosques? And do we see tourists interested in the Islamic history of Cairo?
Well, not many travel agencies put it on their touristic calendar, by the way. And this is a big mistake, because we have an open-air museum for entertainment at Al-Mu'izz Street,
Yes.
the very well-known Al-Mu'izz Street,
Yes.
which is very close to Al-Azhar and Hussein area. And the very well-known Khan al-Khalili Bazaar is very well visited by tourists there. So it's really amazing to have a look at the architecture and the amazing workshops that are still active, and they are undergoing also a lot of renovation to see all the brass makers, the glass makers, the woodwork, the workers working outside their workshops. This is something really which gives significance to Egypt as part of the Middle East.
Yes, the Fatimid state, was considered the golden age for Islamic art in Egypt. Artists during that era left behind a lot of antiquities that show skill and accuracy within the Islamic arts. Can you tell us more about the development of architecture and the arts during the Fatimid era?
Sure. Well, at the dawn of Islam in Egypt, the first capital that was built to be an Islamic capital for Egypt was Al-Fustat, where we have the very well-known mosque of Amr ibn al-As, the leader of the Arabs army to spread Islam in Egypt. And later on, we have the city of Qata'a and Askar, where we have the famous mosque of Ibn Tulun, which is all what remains of the capital of Al-Qata'a. And this is an amazing architecture mosque.
Yes.
That's also very spacious. It covers a huge area, still in excellent condition. And if we talk about the Fatimids, they arrived to Egypt later on. That was in the 10th century. And they gave orders under Caliph Mu'izz al-Din Allah al-Fatimi. His army leader, General Jawhar al-Saqali, built Cairo actually 1,200 years ago in the area known today as Al-Mu'izz Street.
Yes.
And they were very well known for their different architecture, which was really different to the Egyptians, like the Mosque of Al-Hakim. Still, it has been recently renovated by an NGO of the Ismaili community. And it's still one of the remarkable places in Al-Mu'izz Street. Al-Azhar Mosque also was built, and it's a very well-known University of Islam.
Yes.
I believe that tourists who are interested in architecture would really find it as their paradise. I believe that since the development of the NEMIC, the new Museum of Civilization in Al-Fustat area, I believe, and continuing on this whole area of Al-Mu'izz, Darb al-Labbana, Bab Zuwayla, Al-Hussein, this whole area will be really very active and will be a big focus on the agenda of any tourist who would come to visit Cairo, especially if they have night extensions. They can see more and more of this lovely city.
What kind of tourists would be attracted to Islamic architecture, and how can we promote it? I know that students, especially architecture students, obviously take tours within Old Cairo to have a look at the Islamic arts and the Islamic architecture. But other than engineering students, what else attracts people to architecture?
Well, since we are really spending a lot of money on this renovation work, and I heard it's going to include hotels, cultural centers, theaters, cinemas, hangout areas, restaurants. So I believe it's going to be a nice spot for movies. Why not? Instead of shooting movies about the Middle East in Morocco or Jordan, now we have spent a lot of money and we are taking really good care of this area. So why not? I mean, we can encourage Hollywood movies to be shot here. We can also encourage the travel bloggers who really have millions of followers and can have a great impact on encouraging many tourists. Thousands of them can come and get attracted to have their night stay in such areas where you get the flavor of the Middle East.
Yeah, I've noticed that in recent years that Egypt is focused on the idea of religious tourism in general. They're also renovating the Holy Path and in different governorates across Egypt as well. Is this something that the Ministry of Tourism is trying to focus on as a new source of attraction for tourism?
Yes, this is impressive, because tourists already know the pyramids, the Sphinx, the temples. They are already advertised very well. So they have to know also that Egypt hosts this cradle of civilization.
Yes.
Coptic, Islamic, Greek and Roman. So they have to know that we have all such variety of civilizations that they can have a look at as well. For years and years, we have been always advertising the ancient Egyptian tourism, temples, tombs, and pyramids.
Yes.
Now we should focus on this, these new sites. As I said, it's been renovated and restored at a very high cost. So it's about time now that we shed a huge light and put it on the spot and include it on tourism agenda.
Yes, and do you think that this will attract tourists from different regions than we're usually used to?
Yes, yes. Well, we are trying not only to attract cultural and beach tourists, but now we can encourage and attract religious pilgrims for those who want to follow the path of the Holy Family, which are 25 spots, and I believe they have finished now renovating 12 spots so far.
Yes.
And they are on the go. They are really moving so fast in putting a lot of effort in the south, in Upper Egypt, in Asyut, Sohag, and in Melnia, to develop these areas culturally and put great infrastructure and pave new roads to facilitate tourists reaching those holy sites where the Holy Family have stayed in Egypt. So in Cairo also, it's amazing that we have started with this project of Al Bayt to attract Asian, African Muslims from different countries to come and have their pilgrims also.
Yes. Do you think that, I mean, like for instance, there are different places or areas where architecture is an important thing, even if it is a religious aspect? Like, do you think that people could be attracted to these sites? Like people go, for instance, in Turkey to the Hagia Sophia, or they go to the Notre Dame in France. I mean, these are all religious sites, but it attracts tourists of all different religions and beliefs.
Yes, yes. And by the way, the Mamluks have a huge heritage of mosques and water supplies, you know, the charity water supplies, the schools, the bathrooms that are dozens of them everywhere around the historical city of Cairo. And this amazing architecture, you know, that we extracted from it the neo-Mamluk style of architecture. So those who really are interested in architecture and engineering, as I told you earlier, they find it as their paradise to get introduced to such amazing aspects of architecture.
Okay, Dalia Ibrahim, a tour guide, thank you so much for joining us over the phone. And this brings us to the last and final segment of the show. And this ends our episode for Cairo Local Time. But stay tuned for more on Nile TV.